we're back. Okay, so basically today we are doing a Grey's Anatomy best and worst episodes of season 1 review, and this was inspired by Trin Lovell's best and worst episodes of Glee reviews, which I found very hilarious as a Glee fan. And Gianna and I both love Grey's Anatomy, her a little bit more recently, and I've had a love-hate relationship with it since probably like 8th grade, but we're in love right now, so she'll tell you what season she's on. I don't remember, but I'm currently on season 15. But there will be no spoilers. We will only be talking about things that happen in season 1 when they come up. So yes, I'm very excited.
So, as Ava said, we're not going to be doing any spoilers. She's a lot further along in Grey's than I am. I'm currently in the middle of season 7, so I'm not even halfway through. So, I know that there's a lot of stuff I don't know, and I hate seeing spoilers. I know it's frustrating. Any information you would know from like season 1 or really just those episodes as a whole is what we'll be talking about. So no spoilers, don't worry about that. We won't spoil everything for you. In this scene, Izzy and Meredith both asked George to buy tampons because it was his turn to buy groceries for their household, and he just failed to, and his whole argument for it was that he's a man, he doesn't buy tampons, and I just have to say to you, George, that real men buy tampons for the women they like or live with. So I felt like he just really needed to get over that. Okay, so in this scene we have Meredith and Derek, and Derek is kind of hitting on Meredith, you know, having some conversations, and Meredith describes that she wants their relationship to just be professional. Even though at this point they have already had some relations, he's an attending, she's an intern. A little scandalous, that really shouldn't be happening in a hospital. Also a little bit unrealistic, but I do find this scene funny because it is one of the only times that they're both like professional relationship only, and they just kind of disregard that. But they tried, they made an effort. So in this next scene we have Nurse Fallon, who used to be a scrub nurse at the hospital, and she's very well liked by everyone, very well known. She was Ellis Gray's scrub nurse for a very long time. Now she's a patient at Seattle Grace, and I just love this scene because she outsmarts Christina in a number of ways, which I think Christina frankly needed at this point. She needed to be humbled a little bit, so I just really liked how Nurse Fallon knew all the tricks and really ended up outsmarting her in the end.
So the next thing I want to talk about is Alex photocopying Izzy's magazine. So at first I didn't realize it was the magazine, but as soon as he started photocopying it, I knew, because then later in the episode he hangs them up all over the walls. I just think that is one of the rudest things that he has done. I mean, at least throughout that season, definitely, and that just makes me realize how much his character has changed. But I don't see why he would have done that.
So in this scene we have the patient being upset with Izzy because he saw her pose in the magazine, and I think this just really upset me, this whole kind of narrative in this episode with Izzy in the magazine. To be honest, I think I had respect for her because she paid off a lot of medical bills by posing and doing this job, and it just really held her back, and everyone kind of put her down for it, and I think the way it was written just wasn't the best.
Obviously, I would like to talk about the scene with Izzy and Alex where Izzy gets undressed in front of many doctors and nurses. So I love that scene a lot, actually. I think it's like, well, first of all, it's kind of funny that her immediate reaction is to just like show everyone. But I love like when she says, well, all of you are 200K in debt, like I'm sitting here with no student loans. Like, I love that part, and I love that Izzy stood up for herself. I mean, Alex, I feel like he did feel a little guilty, you could tell by his face, but I hope he learned his lesson from that.
So in this scene, Alex photocopies the pictures of Izzy in the magazine, and he puts them up all around the intern locker room. And this is a scene that I was just really infuriated with Alex. I actually really like his character as a whole. Overall, he's one of my favorites. I do think he has some growth to do in this season, and this scene did really make me dislike him, but I also really respected Izzy's reaction to it. I thought it was very fitting when she kind of just took everything off and was like, is this what you all wanted to see? So I do really respect her for that.
Have you had enough, or should I continue? Because I have a few more very interesting tattoos. You want to call me Dr. Model? That's fine. Just remember that while you're sitting on 200 grand of student loans, I'm out of debt.
And lastly is Meredith and Derek. So Meredith finally agrees to go out to breakfast with Derek at the end of the episode, which I thought was really sweet. And it's funny for me to see like their relationship so new, just because I've watched so many seasons of it. But I think their relationship is definitely one of the best written on the show. Like, I think theirs is very natural. Their characters work very well together. And although their relationship is great now, we're in for a surprise next episode.
So overall, this episode we know is rated as the worst in season 1, and partly I can see it. I think some of the writing on the cases was a little poor, like the guy's reasoning to why he didn't want Izzy in his room was because he feels like emasculated by her in his surgery, and I felt a little disconnect there. I think that was just a little like, And then I also thought the Burke case was really poor. He kind of just led Christina on during the entire episode to really leave the woman to suffer without really any medical attention. So I feel like that was just kind of like, that's just how that case ended. It was just kind of like done. So overall, I don't think it was awful necessarily, but I can see, just because of the cases, I think in other episodes there are cases that are more interesting and just better written. So I can see why it was rated the worst.
Okay, so for this episode, obviously George has contracted syphilis, and I actually forgot who he got it from because I forgot about Olivia, who was the nurse that he contracted syphilis from. I just think that's so funny because he's obviously like one of the last characters you would expect to be getting an STI, but the scenes with him and Alex are very funny. Him like trying to tell Alex. Later he'll learn who he got it from, which was Alex.
So I feel like this scene is just so funny. It is when Alex checks out George for his STD, and I think it's a good laugh, you know? They need some funny moments in this show to just kind of brighten it up. So I always laugh at this scene. I just think it's so funny, and George is just so incredibly awkward, even though he's a doctor and they're, used to some things like this. It's just still really funny.
I thought you could use some moral support.
No moral support. I'm indisposed here.
George, it's not a big deal. And you have a cute butt.
Hey!
What are we doing here?
Breaking George's spirit.
Curing George's sick.
Cute butt.
Told ya.
It is cute, like a baby's.
Okay, so we also find out this episode that Richard has a brain tumor, and he gets it removed like the day after he finds out, and he's trying to be very secretive about it. But he's the chief of surgery, so obviously people are gonna find out about this. He just kept it such a secret, and he didn't want anyone to know. It's almost like he was ashamed of that, which I don't know why he would be, because it was definitely something that's out of his control. But he has a long process ahead of him to recover, so obviously someone's gonna have to pick up a lot of his work probably in the coming few weeks that he is out, so that'll be interesting to see.
This is another one of my favorite scenes. George submits his tests, and Izzy is just the nosiest character, and I think that's what makes her very funny too. So she's shouting about this person that has this STD and blah blah blah, and finally George just admits it and tells her that it's him. So I also think this is a really funny one, and it's just George's awkwardness and Izzy's nosiness just coming together, and it's so funny. So in this scene, Dr. Bailey is allowing Izzy and Christina to do a procedure on their own. It's not like a surgery, but it's a very important procedure that ends up affecting the patient very greatly. I just think it's really unrealistic. I know that I've read some things about Grays, and it's just really unrealistic to let interns do things alone. Like, that never happens. So I just think this was like very unrealistic. I felt like this was not very true to an actual hospital. Definitely changed for the purpose of a show.
Okay, so Alex and George have a fight near the end of the episode because George learns that Olivia thinks she got syphilis from Alex. So I think this is just another scene portraying how far Alex's character has to go, because he's basically been deceiving George this whole episode, just letting him think, oh, well, he probably got it from the girl, when in reality it was probably Alex's fault. Yeah, and I think that just shows kind of like a mean side to his character, and we really, at this point, I don't think we've really seen much of a nicer side to him.
So in this scene, Christina and Izzy take a body of their patient to kind of determine what went wrong, and they would get into a lot of trouble. To be fair, Dr. Bailey did yell at them for this, but I feel like they would get into a lot more severe trouble if they did that, especially when the patient's family isn't like okay with that. So again, I think it's another little bit of an unrealistic one because they got reprimanded, but really only a little bit in the scheme of things. So in this scene, Meredith finally tells Derek what is actually going on with her mom. Essentially took her the entire season 1 to do this, but I was very happy that she was finally opening up a little bit to him. I think it definitely progressed their relationship, and up until this point, no one else in the hospital that she works with every day, nobody really knows. So I was happy when she finally told him.
At this point in the episode, it's clear that Burke and Christina have gotten together sometime before this. I find them an interesting couple. I'm not really a fan of them because I think their characters really don't work well together, in my opinion. But I think that Burke and Christina's dynamic with that is a little competitive in a very weird way that I'm just really not a fan of, and I don't think makes them mesh well together as characters.
Overall, I can definitely see why this is the highest rated episode in season 1. I think it's very funny. It involves all of the characters very well. I feel like some episodes just completely leave some characters out, and I think this one really had everybody come together, and it was very funny. And I just cannot fail to mention the ending. It's one of the best plot twists. Amazing when Addison just shows up. I think that was one of the best season enders of all of what I've seen of Grace so far. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching. We really hope that you enjoyed this video. I know we had so much fun making it. We both love Grays so much and we love talking about it, so we thought it would be a great idea for a video. Make sure to like this video, comment your thoughts on it. What did you think? Do you disagree with our opinions? Do you like certain parts? Let us know what you think, and make sure you subscribe to our channel. We're going to be uploading every Saturday, and we hope that you guys are really liking our content. So thanks!